Well, it's time now to answer your legal questions. Be sure to call us 256-536-0077. Heath Brooks with our friends at Timberlake League and Brooks is joining us this morning, and we are talking about bicycle safety.
Yeah, it's important this time of year. I mean, we're getting warmer outside. There's going to be more people that are wanting to get out on their bikes on the roadway, and Huntsville has a lot of places to go with bicycles, but of course we got to be safe when we get out on a bicycle, because if you get hit by a car, you know, gosh forbid, that could be devastating.
Yeah.
And I see these from time to time, and there's no real winner there. So, you know, just as a general rule, if you're under the age of 16 in the state of Alabama, you're required to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
Over the age of 16, you're not required to wear a helmet when you're on a bicycle. So, you know, don't be under 16 and not have a helmet on, but also at the same time, you know, if you're over the age of 16, you need to have a helmet on.
Yeah, just to be safe. And we actually did get a good question about bike lanes implemented across the state.
Yeah, we have. What do I know about bicycles being implemented across the state? Well, the Alabama Department of Transportation has initiated a study to determine what areas roadway connectivity of our 67 counties could assist bikes moving through the state of Alabama. Now, this is a plan and a research study, so there's not an implementation here of creating bike lanes on state highway. But I do know that there is some movement towards bike lanes in the state of Alabama. I think 280 down in Birmingham has a very ambitious project to try to establish some bike lanes on 280.
Yeah.
So that's a highway that we may have some bike lanes on. Here in Huntsville, we are, I believe, Spraggan Street and Oakwood are implementing some bike lanes to assist in getting bikes and cars to work together, you know, better. But generally speaking, there is a move towards that, but there's not enough.
Okay, and it seems we do have a caller. Yeah, what's your question?
Sure. Okay, we lost a caller.
Yeah, I think we lost a caller. Well, I did have one question. So say you are on a bike and you're following all the legal, you know, procedures that you're supposed to follow when you're on a bike, and you do get hit by a car. What kind of protections do you have?
Well, let's say that it would be the same as if you were in a car and you got hit by another car. The person who was negligent in causing your injury, you would have a claim against, and you would probably have some significant injuries. Of course, you want to make sure you're okay, gather the information from the driver that caused your injuries, and then probably going to need to talk to an attorney. You know, one of the things about being on a bicycle, if you're on a roadway in the state of Alabama, you have the same rights and the same responsibilities as cars that are on the road. This is different than a pedestrian. A pedestrian has to walk against traffic.
Yeah.
With a bicycle, you're flowing with traffic, so you're following the same rules as other cars on the road. You've got to stop for all traffic signals. You've got to stop at stop signs. You've got to yield at yield signs. These are the things that bicyclists are required to do in the state of Alabama. And if you're not doing those things, and you get injured, you know, you run a stoplight, and somebody has the right of way and hits you. You are now in violation of the law. So that other motorist is not going to be responsible if you're injured.
Yeah, and I don't think many people realize that, you know, you're considered a motorist in a type of way whenever you're on the road, and if you're not following the roadway laws.
That's exactly right. They call it the rules of the road. You know, I mean, and you have the same responsibilities. One of the things is that if you're on a bicycle, you don't need to be riding on a sidewalk. If you're on a bicycle and you hit a pedestrian that is lawfully on the sidewalk, you could be responsible for injuring that pedestrian. Or if you're on a roadway and you're going against traffic and somebody hits you, causes damage to their car, you as a bicyclist could be responsible. So again, you've got rights as a bicyclist, all the same rights. You've got responsibilities. If you're driving at nighttime, you need to have proper lights on your bicycle. You need to have proper mirrors on your bicycle. Those are things that are required of bicyclists that protect you and keep you safe as well.
Yeah, and you know, one thing, Huntsville has a lot of greenways.
That's right.
You know, some people, and of course there's usually signs that say, oh, share the lanes.
Sure.
But what about greenways? Are they to have a bit more scrutiny on them?
Yeah, any kind of trail, greenway. There's a new trail going up Bankhead that the Land Trust of North Alabama is spearheading that's going to try to get some bicyclists off the road. Any of those kinds of what I call mixed use trails, again, you've got responsibility as a bicyclist, and there will be rules that are required for whatever organization is maintaining those trails. So if it's the City of Huntsville Greenway, they have certain rules against motorized bicycles, which is a whole different can of worms we're not going to get into today. But motorized bicycles or assisted bicycles are bicyclists. So depending upon what the rules are, is what your responsibilities are as a bicyclist.
All righty. Well, thank you, Heath. We appreciate it. And if you didn't get your questions answered, remember, you can always call our friends over at Timberlake League and Brooks. Thank you again, Heath. And don't forget, 256-536-0077 is the number that you can text or call. And we'll be right back.
Thank you.